you doing? It's Mr. Alvarez from Alvarez BJJ Academy here in Arlington. Wanted to share with you guys a testimonial from one of my students, Mr. Moya here. He's been with me for a little over 5 years, and I just kind of want him to. He's just going to share his story with you to kind of get across the point that no matter how busy your life is, what you have going on as far as family, work, he just finished his master's, and he still is able to get in his jiu-jitsu training throughout this whole time he's been with me. He just got recently promoted to brown belt, was that just like a couple weeks ago. So it's a big milestone for him, and I just kind of want him, he's just going to share with you guys out there just his thoughts on when he first started, what he was thinking when he started, you know, just that whole thought process, that first month of when he started jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So when you came in, you know, what was your idea, what was your goal for jiu-jitsu when you first started?
Well, when I first came in, when I saw everyone rolling, my first thought was, you know, that's something that I would love to do, but at that time in my life, I was 40 years old, about 35 pounds heavier than I am now, and I saw all the guys looked in shape and rolling around, and I thought that would be something that I would love to do, but I just didn't think it was for me. I just didn't think I could.
Because of your age, your weight, or just your, what exactly?
I think all of the above. I think my stage in life, my career, is very demanding. Just have a very intense career. 3 kids. Okay. Just a very full schedule every weekend. I'm with one of my kids at a soccer game or something like that. And you know, just feeling like I'm so out of shape. I've said I had been sitting at a desk for nearly 20 years. So when I walked in, I was so out of shape. I was just felt too old, and so I just, you know, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to be on the mat. So I just decided I would take the class. And when I took the first class and the second class, my fears were confirmed. I was totally out of shape. I couldn't breathe for more than 2 minutes on the mat. Just totally out of breath. And so I would go home and I would say, you know, this probably is not going to work out for me because I just can't make it. I just couldn't make it through a class. There was a couple of times that I was literally just physically sick, you know, just barely could make it home. One day I thought I might just have to sleep at the gym. I didn't think I was going to make it home. I was so sick. So at that time, my goal just became just to make it through one round. One round. Just try to make it through one round without giving up before the clock ran out.
And just for the record, I guess an average of a 6-minute round straight with no break. So he was just trying to survive 6 minutes.
That's
you know,
right.
Before you were saying basically you weren't finishing a round. You had to take time off and call time or something like that.
2 minutes was about my top, you know, time, and then I might have to run to the restroom or run outside the back door or something like that. So my first goal was to finish a 6-minute round. I didn't care if I was tapped out or anything like that. Just make it through the round. And so then from there, you know, I still battled a lot of scheduling challenges and issues like that. Then I started working on a master's degree, which had been a lifelong dream. And
so how many days a week were you doing that? How many classes a week did you do?
At the master's level, it's 3 days a week.
Okay.
And my particular degree in theology is a very intense degree. It's twice as long as a normal master's degree. Okay. A normal master's degree is 36 hours, mine is 60 hours. Oh, okay. So it's just, you know, it's like getting 2 master's degrees. Okay. And so once I started that process, which I said was a lifelong dream, then again my commitment to jiu-jitsu was really challenged again. But at that time, I made a new goal, and my new goal was just take one more class. One more class. And at that time, because of my career, because of my school, even though we have a lot of classes, I could only make one a week. So then I had to battle this issue, is that going to be enough? Am I going to be able to keep up with the guys in the gym if I can only train once a week? Because these guys, a lot of them are training a lot.
Yeah, 2 or 3 times.
2 or 3 times.
We have guys that train every day, sometimes twice a day, and you're struggling to make it one day.
So at that point, and you taught me how to journal, and so I took your encouragement to journal very seriously, and I began to write down every move that we would learn, and then I began to take those, and on my downtime, if I'm waiting in line, if I'm stuck in traffic, in between classes, I'm studying my jiu-jitsu, just like I would for my classes. I just made it one of my classes, and so then I just kept telling myself, one more class. One more class was my motto, and then the white belt turned into the blue belt, which was a milestone that I didn't think I would ever make.
Because you just thought blue belt was too far away. Because on average, to blue belt is anywhere, at least here, is like year to year and a half. You know, you're training 2-3 times a week, and you know if you're kind of hit or miss, and sometimes 2 years if you're just if you're not here like you're supposed to. So was it because it just seemed like the year or year and a half was too far away, or just seemed like just the day to day trying to make it was just tough to make it to?
Yeah, I think the day to day, there's so many obstacles in my career as a pastor that can sideline you. I travel. I travel. I'm in school. I'm in most of my weekends are really covered up with a lot of appointments and services, and so I just thought, at some point or another, there's going to be a decision to make. Am I really going to be able to keep the pace? But I wanted it so bad, and you are constantly encouraging people, set goals. Set a goal and just aim for that goal. And so that's what I did. I just kept the goal in mind. Once I got to the blue belt, which to me really represented the first real hurdle. Once I got there, then I was able to mentally commit and say, okay, I'm going to stay with this, and if I can just make one class a week, if that's all I can get, then I'm going to make that, I'm going to maximize that one time. And so I did that through journaling and just through focusing in and trying to remember what we've learned, and then come in and drill. And so I think I would say to anybody who says, you know what, I can only come once a week, or I just can't, I don't think, maybe you feel like you're too old. I started at age 40, and the average guy seemed to be somewhere in the 20s. And I just thought, but I would just say to anybody, if you can make one class, if that's all you can make, but if you can maximize that class, and if it's something you really want, you say, I want to be here. I'm a testimony to say that you can put one foot in front of the other, and you can build on what you learned each class, and you can make it work. If it's something you really want, you can make it work, and it's worth it. I've kept off probably 25 of the original 30 pounds that I had, and you encourage us to eat better. I'm always watching. One of the things I love about Jiu Jitsu now is that everything I do, I think about how it's going to affect me when I'm on the mat on my one day.
Right.
So the whole week I'm thinking about how am I going to feel when I get to the mat, if I eat this, or if I do this, or if I don't do this. And so that has been the motivation for me to eat better, exercise all of the time during the week. One of the things that I would do, because I couldn't be here as much, is try to exercise more on my own, whether it be at home.
So you weren't doing that before you came
No,
here?
no, I wasn't doing that before. Like I said, just behind the desk, eating all the wrong things, and taking every invitation to go out and eat, with everybody who would invite me, and just a really a bad lifestyle in that regard. And so really Jiu-Jitsu has changed everything about how I eat and how I rest and how I exercise, and then just studying my notes constantly.
How does that, do you feel like it's benefited your family, your wife and kids, like, your attitude better, has that changed at all since you've been training?
My wife says she never wants me to quit Jiu-Jitsu, and that's a very interesting thing for her to say, and I think the reason is because I was always a fairly a goal-oriented person. If I didn't have some type of a goal, that's one of the reasons why I made my educational goal, was because I want to be growing and learning something. And when I don't have a goal or something like that, I'm very restless. And my wife has told me, since you started jiu-jitsu 5.5 years ago, you're just so much calmer. You're at peace. You're at ease. You're relaxed. You get out all of your frustrations on the mat, and you come home and you're just relaxed, and you got a smile on your face. And so, the other part of it that is really valuable to me is that I have 3 kids, teenagers, and I'm giving them an example. When I started my master's degree, start it and finish it.
Yeah, right.
And to be honest with you, Mr. Alvarez, that's one of the reasons why I come back every week. It's because I want my kids to see. Dad started in jiu-jitsu, and it seemed impossible for him in his own mind, but he stuck with it, and he's going to finish. Whatever that time comes. If I'm too old.
Yeah, no. I mean, he just got his brown belt. You're looking anywhere from like, year and a half, for the next level. But it's some powerful statements, because I think, like I said, a lot of people, at least when I come in and they talk to me, or they talk to Mr. Alvarez, and Mr. Alvarez Senior's recording, he's always a man behind the scenes and nobody sees him. So we'll get camera on him one day. But everybody that comes in and they just say, I can only do it 1 day a week, and that's just not enough. And if I can't do it all the way, I'm not going to do it at all. And I'm like, I have this guy, Mr. Moya, and he comes once a week, and he is really, really good. And he can roll with those young guys half his age and give them a run for his money, if not more. And they just sometimes just can't grasp that concept. Like 1 day a week is good enough. And sometimes good is good enough. Like if that's all you can get at that moment, at least start it. And maybe as your training time goes on, things will open up. You get more time to come and train. But if you just can tell yourself, well, I can do it, I'm not going to start, then you just put yourself behind even more, because maybe you will start later, but then you could have started 2 years prior to that, And it's big for me to have somebody like you that's starting when they're 40 years old, that has a wife and 3 kids, has a job, going to school, getting a master's. That's really 2 masters. Like you said, it's 60 hours, and you still find time to come to jiu-jitsu. When most people would say, I'm too busy, not enough time in the day, this, that, and all. It's just excuses. And for me, it's just prioritizing your day and your hours and your work week to just make sure that you come in. Because it's 1 day, it's 1 hour, and that 1 hour is priceless because of what the benefits that you get out of, like from the training and the partners you get to train with. And I just feel like more and more people need to just take your advice and come in and just give it a shot. And again, that first month is going to be rough, but that's going to be rough for a 20-year-old kid. I don't care if you're a triathlete. You come in and somebody's on top of you and you're doing jiu-jitsu and you can't get them off you until you learn how. It's just not easy. I mean, you hyperventilate, you push, and the guy's still on top of you, and you're like, man, this sucks. And so it doesn't matter what your age. It's just you got to go through the growing pains like anything else to get there. And I feel like somebody that's 20 years old, it's really, with a testimonial like that, it's really not going to stand and hold too much water because they're a young kid. And anybody can say, man, that guy's 20, look at him, man, he's full of testosterone and everything else. Like, please, but I have somebody like you that's in his 40s and got a full schedule and still can make time to come in and train and get the benefits of jiu-jitsu. I mean, it's priceless stuff, and I feel like more and more people need to be take advantage of what jiu-jitsu has to offer. I mean, just alone, what would you say about the atmosphere and just some of the guys, like, as far as training partners? I think that's the biggest fear, is when people come in, they're like, oh, they see Ultimate Fighter on TV, they see the UFC, and they think, oh man, this guy's gonna break my arm or beat me up, and they come in and everybody's intimidated and they're not sure. Like, it's a scary thing to come in and to a jiu-jitsu academy, see guys rolling, they're choking people out, and man, I don't want to get hurt, type of thing. So obviously, you've been doing it this long. What do you have to say, like, about the atmosphere of your training here, as far as, like, the training partner you've had to help you out here?
Well, I think that the training partners that I've had here is one of the big reasons why I was able to come back each week.